This week, we have Omer, CEO of Chaos Labs, on for our dYdX segment. Quick starters, what is Chaos Labs' 20 million launch incentives for dYdX? And do you mind giving us a quick rundown on how it's done so far?
Yeah, the $20 million liquidity incentive or launch incentive program for dYdX is a program meant to bootstrap liquidity and encourage migration to the new dYdX chain from previous versions like V3. The idea here is to incentivize early adopters who are driving volume on the platform and driving organic flow. So that's high level. The program is structured across seasons and should run around 6 months. And the incentives are distributed in dYdX tokens through governance at the end of each season.
You really can't argue with the fact that the incentives have worked pretty well so far. But I'm curious on the market maker side, because a lot of the critiques and worries heading into V4 was that market makers wouldn't want to set up the new infra. Has this actually been what you've seen, or do you think most market makers have successfully migrated over by now?
So the volume has been really, really impressive. Like if you compare around the current time frame, the volume that dYdX chain is doing versus other prevalent perpetual protocols, it's been number one for a lot of the time since the launch of the program. So I think those concerns have been put to rest. And the incentive programs is actually performing and serving its purpose in incentivizing people to migrate over and giving them sufficient motivation. So there's still room to grow, and we're seeing that happen week over week. But the start has been very, very strong and promising.
So, focusing on the statistics, right? What type of numbers have you seen so far? Are there any outlier statistics that perhaps you weren't expecting? We would love to get a sort of like a rundown.
So right now we're on season 2. We've seen on the dYdX chain over almost 22 billion in trading volume across 34 different markets, over 2,000 traders and 1,100 market makers have been earning points through the program that we're administrating. And then there's a lot more interesting data on like the performance of traders in the market, like liquidations and so on. I think what's really also nice to see here is the amount of deposits. So we spoke about new infrastructure and having to migrate and all of these things. Well, in the early weeks, we've already seen over 40 million in USDC deposits on the dYdX chain.
And then I do want to ask a little bit about wash trading. What is your guys' methodology, or how are you guys going to try and combat that? Because obviously in crypto, whenever there's incentives, there's people who want to try and extract those incentives in the most efficient way.
Let's talk about what wash trading is, or at least how we're defining it. So basically, when you're administrating a program like this, everybody knows that in crypto, farming is a really big part, trying to get the points, trying to get the airdrop allocation. And really, it's hard to differentiate between users who are organic and supporting the platform and there because they find value, and just folks that are either setting up bots or there to kind of maximize on that airdrop allocation. With the wash trading module of Chaos Labs, we make that distinction and differentiation. So we run several different algorithms that are rooted in the latest academia research and how to detect wash trading with sophisticated metrics and conditions. We do an analysis on basically graphs in the trading venues. So basically takers and makers. And then towards the end, we're able to see if there are any cycles. So a really, really naive example, and I'll show this now when I pull up my screen, is two traders who are trading back and forth. Their P&L will stay net neutral throughout the trading season or throughout different positions, but they're doing incredible amount of volume. And this is typically something that we define as wash trading, and we don't want to incentivize it or encourage it. So there's a blog post about it on the Chaos blog. We also go into detail about it on the dYdX forum, and we kind of give some intuition for how the algorithm work, how all the different algorithms work, and how we're detecting cycles and graphs.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure there's, can't really fit it into a 5-minute segment and how extensive this wash trading detection actually goes. But I'm glad to see that you guys are actually taking a thoughtful approach, breaking this up into seasons, kind of doing retroactive rewards based on activity and doing your best to reward the behavior that you want to see. But I do believe that's all the time we have for today. So Omer, thank you so much for coming on. If you want to leave the audience with where they can learn more about Chaos Labs, dYdX, we can link to that stuff in the show notes after we're done recording here.
For sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. If you want to learn more about Chaos Labs, the easiest is Twitter, chaos_labs, or on our website, chaoslabs.xyz. We're always happy to talk to builders. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, of course. Let's get on over to Hot Seat and Cool Throne.